The #1 lesson is, your game idea probably sucks.
Release 2 crappy games fast before making your first commercial release.
So make sure you keep your games small.
If you are just starting out and hoping to make the next indie hit, then you might get disappointed.
Your first game is probably gonna flop.
This is your very first game and it's gonna be crap.
Tip number 1, don't.
So anyway, I'm making my dream game. I mean, it can't be that hard, right? Right? Hey, this is Nova, and before we get into this madness, I just want to say I don't recommend doing what I'm about to do. It's a terrible idea, but I'm doing it anyway. So yeah, let's go, I guess. Okay, so ever since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with games. Like, fully consumed. I always wanted to make one myself, but every time I tried to learn game development, something shiny would distract me. And boom, I'd quit. Every single time. That's until one day, the YouTube algorithm decided to bless me with devlogs. These YouTubers were out here making their own games, and something in me just snapped. I thought, yeah, I can do that too. That looks fun. Yeah, turns out I was so wrong. You see, to make a game, you have to know like everything. Programming, art, sound design, game design, level design, 3D modeling, and so much more. I mean, you basically need to start learning game dev before you're even born at this point. Bro, what the f even is an interface? So yeah, game dev is hard. But hard doesn't mean impossible. People do this all the time. Just look at Stardew Valley. Eric Baron, this absolute mad lad, spent 4+ years making that game all by himself. No team, no backup, just him, his keyboard, and a whole lot of coffee. This guy wanted to make a game that captured the magic of those classic farming sims, but better. So he taught himself everything from scratch. Programming, art, music, you name it. He didn't just dabble in each area either. He became a one-man game studio. Eric spent years making that game bit by bit, and it became a huge success. That story, along with all those devlogs, got me thinking, yeah, I want to do this too. Now I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another wannabe dev was gonna try making the next Hollow Knight and quit halfway through. And you're not wrong, that happens a lot. But here's the thing, you don't know if you'll fail unless you try, right? Everyone says your first game should be small because it's gonna fail. The smaller it is, the quicker you'll learn. Don't make your first game some huge open world RPG where dragons shoot rocket launchers from their wings. And yeah, that's probably the safe option. But let me ask you this, if Eric was scared of making a big game and just stuck to tiny projects, do you think Stardew Valley would have ever happened? Yeah, probably not. Look, I get it. Making small games is a safer route. There is less at stake if it bombs. But the problem with small games is they just don't click with me. Every time I came up with a small idea, I just couldn't get into it. I'd start working on it and then nothing. I get bored. I'm all about games with depth. You know, the kind where you lose yourself for hours and you don't even realize it. Games where you get sucked into the world. And making small games, that kinda kills the whole reason I wanted to make games in the first place. I wanted to make games because I loved the freedom to tweak, add stuff, break things, whatever I want. So I said screw it, I'm making the game I want no matter how hard or how long it takes. And if it fails, who cares? At least I'll have fun. And that's what matters in my opinion. So with that in mind, I decided I needed to pick something I could actually finish in my lifetime. And ever since I was a kid, I've always loved sandbox games like Minecraft, especially with mods that had machines and assembly lines. And recently, I've been hooked on Satisfactory and Factorio, and it just clicked. I want to make something like that. And since these games are mostly about programming, and I'm already familiar with that, I have a computer science degree after all. This type of game is perfect, and so it's decided. I'm gonna make a factory automation game. Okay, so in case you are not familiar with the genre, I will explain it so even a little kid can understand. Resources, break. Machines, spin. New stuff comes out. Monkey brain, happy. Basically, you gather raw resources from the world, put them into machines, and make new stuff. Then, use that stuff to build more machines or tools, and it just keeps going.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It might sound kinda boring, but trust me, it's super addictive. You won't be uninstalling this after just a couple of hours. So, what do I need to make this game? First off, I need a game engine. What's a game engine, you ask? Think of it as the foundation you build your games on. It's like the skeleton of your game. There are a ton of options out there, but for this project, I'm going with Unity. Why? Because it's super popular and there are a ton of resources for it. And let's be real, it's what everyone's using. With that decided, I got to work learning Unity. I watched a tutorial by CodeMonkey, an absolute legend by the way, go check him out. He made a game from start to finish and I followed along step by step, and everything went super smoothly. Okay, maybe not that smoothly, but hey, I finished the tutorial. And not just that. Feeling pumped, I fired up Unity to start my own project, and yeah, I had absolutely no clue what to do next. So naturally, I thought, maybe I just need more knowledge. I'll watch a few more tutorials, then I'll be ready for sure. Big mistake. Huge. One tutorial turned into 5 turned into 10, and before I even know it, I was deep in tutorial hell. A place where time doesn't exist and your confidence slowly withers away. At first, it's kinda fun. You are learning about AI, virtual reality, physics simulation, and you're thinking, wow, I'm really going to use all this someday. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Instead, I became a collector of random game dev knowledge, none of which was actually helping me make my game. The worst part? Tutorials make everything look easy.
So all we have to do is add this line of code to make our character jump.
Meanwhile, I'm over here 10 hours deep trying to figure out why my character is moonwalking in the ceiling like a Michael Jackson version of Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, that makes sense actually. But hey, I wasn't ready to give up. I was sure the next tutorial would be the one, you know? The magical one that would unlock all the secrets of Infinity. Yeah, it never happened. It was like I had subscribed to Netflix for game dev tutorials, and instead of making progress, I was just binging them for hours. It felt productive at first, but in reality, I wasn't doing anything. Then, reality hit me like a wave crashing into a sandcastle. I wasn't moving forward. I had to stop watching and actually start creating. But leaving tutorial hell? Yeah, easier said than done. It's like trying to eat healthy, but binging on ice cream every night. Feels good in the moment, but you're definitely not getting anywhere with those goals. So, with that in mind, I opened up Unity, and this time, I actually was going to start making the game no matter what. I wanted to determine a few things before making it though. What's the perspective? Is it 2D or 3D? Should it be first person, third person, or top-down view? What's the world like? Procedurally generated or handcrafted? And don't even get me started on the art style. Pixel art, stylized, realistic. The questions felt endless. Some I figured out before I started, while others just popped up like that question you didn't study for in the exam. Most of the Factory games I've played are 3D, and honestly, I feel way more immersed in 3D worlds. Satisfactory really nailed that experience for me, so I decided my game would be a 3D first-person adventure. And as for the world generation, I really loved the procedural world generation in games like Minecraft and Factorio. It ensures that each world is unique while allowing you to use a seed to recreate the same world every time. This feature boosts replayability because instead of starting a new save knowing the location of resources and immediately rushing for them, you can explore a fresh landscape and discover new locations. You will have to scout and figure out the best spots for gathering resources, making each experience feel unique. Plus, with an infinite world, you will never run out of resources, which is perfect for a game that heavily relies on resource management. As for the theme, I didn't really decide it yet, but I believe that a story is essential in those kind of games. As without a story, I didn't really feel like there is a goal to automating all these resources and spending hours doing so. In Satisfactory, the game was perfect, but at a certain point, I didn't find a reason for automating, and the grinding shifted from being fun and rewarding to feeling more like a repetitive chore. Something I just had to do to keep progressing and sending resources to the space elevator. But why do I do it? What is the space elevator doing with the resources anyway? And for that, I needed a purpose for my game. At least a beginning and an end. The story has to have a goal, but without interfering with the core game. It should be subtle and not in your way, but also not so bland and without a final goal. I didn't have a solid theme or story yet, but I figured out for now I'd go with the classic. Crash-landed spaceship on an alien world where you need to build a new ship to escape. I mean, you can't go wrong with a good old crash landing, right? This of course was temporary until I figured out what the story is. Don't trust me in the comments, please. So anyway, I started building the mechanics that are essential for any factory game. My focus was on getting the logic down before worrying about art. Since, let's be honest, I'm no Picasso.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the...
I kicked things off by working on the first person character. And yeah, it was a bit of a mess at first, but eventually I got it working. Now that I had my character moving, it was time to implement breaking items. But before I could do that, I needed an inventory system. I wanted it to be dynamic. Basically, it should let me increase the number of slots as I progress through the game. Perfect. Now for breaking things, I added a simple mechanic to detect what's in front of the player and damage it. And it worked. Okay, maybe not in the first try, but it didn't take long. Soon enough, I was walking around the world breaking items left and right. I even added an info box to show what each item was. I know it ain't much, but hey, it's honest work. I still have a long way to go, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. I'm in for the long haul, ready to transform this game into something special, as long as nothing interrupts me, of course. Which leads me to my next big problem. I just graduated from university, and guess what? I currently have no job. Yeah, no surprises. I've got some savings, but that's about it. I jumped headfirst into game development like an absolute idiot, and unless I figure out how to use photosynthesis, I need to eat. So, if you'd like to support me in pursuing my dream of becoming a full-time game developer, I've set up a Patreon account. You can check it out, links in the description. And if you want to help out but aren't looking to spend any money, a simple like and subscribe goes a long way. Right now I'm not earning anything from YouTube, so your support will help get my videos in front of more people and make reaching that 1000 subscriber milestone a bit easier. There is also one important thing. I want this game to be something truly epic. But let's face it, some of the ideas I have might need an extra set of eyes and feedback before they are locked in. And that's where you come in. If you've got opinions, suggestions, or ideas for the game, I would love to hear them. Your input could help shape some major features. So yeah, I've set up a Discord server. Although the only time I use Discord is for playing games with my friends, I think I did a good job. The server is for anyone interested in game dev. So if you need advice, want to share your own project, or just looking for a place to brainstorm ideas, if any of that sounds cool, consider joining the server, links in the description. And with that said, this is where I'll leave it for now. Hopefully I would have made the world generation by the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.